Okay, so let's start with 3.1, exercise 3.1. So the 3.1 is functions of two or more variables. Okay, so question number 1. So this is a question in which you have to substitute the value of x and y into the function. That's it, okay? So this is for x and this is for y. Okay, so means 2 times 2 to the power of 2 minus 2 and 2 squared plus 12 squared. So you will get 4 plus 12 is 16. So square root 16 is 4. So 8 minus 8, which is 0. So this is your answer. So I think this is easy. The same goes with B. This is x, this is y. Okay, so you substitute the value of x and y into your function. Okay, so just use your calculator. You will get negative 74.2389. So what is the function of two or more variables? All this while you have looked into the function of y equals to fx. This is a function of one variable. So this x is what we call independent variable. Okay. And then this y is the function there. Now the function has two variables, which is x and y. Okay. And often you will learn about up to 3 variables, which is x, y, and z. Okay, so now we are looking into this type of functions. Okay, so when you differentiate these functions, contoh kalau yang ini, you differentiate dy dx, you will have f prime x. Okay. However, for this one, if you want to differentiate dz dx, okay, it will be del f over del x only. So how about y? So y will treat as constant. Because you have more than one variable, right? Okay, so again, for this one as well, if you differentiate del w over del z, let's say, okay, so now you have two variables, which is you have to treat as constant. Okay, they are x and y. So we will look into this more in 3.2, I think. Okay. So that is what we call function of two or more variables. Okay, let's look into question number 2, the domain. So this domain, memang ramai yang tanya saya berkenaan domain. Okay, actually there are ways in which you can understand the domain easier. Let's look into the 2a, fxy equals to 1 over 3x plus y. So this is a rational function, right? Rational function. So for rational function, the denominator cannot be 0. Okay, so always like that, denominator cannot be 0 because if your denominator equals to 0, then your function is undefined. So domain is actually a set of variables, your independent variables. If if there's a two variables, xy lah. Kalau 3 variables, xyz lah. Okay, so contoh macam ni, this is y, this is x. So this is what we call domain, a set of variables x in which your function will be defined. And then this y, the answer is what we call as range. Okay, so domain ni sebenarnya ni lah yang kita nak cari. Kalau xy sekarang, so dia kenalah variable xy yang membuatkan you punya function tertakrif or define. Okay, now the 3x plus y cannot be 0. If it's 0, then our function become undefined. So this is what we call domain. So if you want to write domain of f, now your function, your variable is xy, right? So xy, which is 3x plus y cannot be 0. So this is your answer. Okay. So for B, okay, for this one, your x is can take a value from negative infinity until infinity, right? Dia boleh ambil semua. Tetapi untuk exponent, okay, exponent pun actually dia boleh ambil semua. For exponent, it can be from negative infinity until infinity. However, the square root, okay. So kalau you nak tengok cantik, you buat macam ni, negative, 0 and positive. Okay, tadi kita dah tengok exponent. Exponent negatif boleh, 0 boleh, positif pun boleh. And then we have seen the polynomial. Polynomial the x lah. X negatif tertakrif, 0 tertakrif, positif pun tertakrif. And now we want to look into the square root. Okay, there are no square root negatif. Maksudnya kalau you tekan calculator, tekan negatif square root negatif 1 ke, square root negatif 2 ke, you will get math error. Okay, the math error means your value is undefined. Okay, so kalau square root 0, they are square root 0. If square root positive, they are square root positive. So if your domain comprises of these two, means it is greater than or equals to 0. Okay, equals to 0. So 0 tu termasuk sekali, included. Okay, so in this function, the 1 minus x plus y must be greater than or equals to 0. Okay, the square root. Whatever in your square root here, okay, the term in your square root must be equals to 0. So now this in your square root you have 1 minus x plus y. So this is your domain. Or you can write in terms of your domain of f is the variable of xy in which 1 minus x plus y must be greater than or equals to 0 only. Okay, so ataupun dalam buku tu actually dia dah susun balik rearrange this equation, y minus x greater than or equals to negative 1 pun sama saja. Okay, C. Okay, for law now, law negative ada tak? Kalau you tekan calculator, there are no law negative, okay, because it's undefined. And even law 0 pun tak ada. Yang ada cumalah law positif. So bila yang define tu kat sini saja, means this is greater than 0, not included 0. Okay, jangan buat sama dengan, because there are when law 0, there are no value, right? Okay, so apa yang kena lebih besar kosong tu? Yang inilah the argument, which is x plus 2y must be greater than 0. Okay, so it can be your domain already. So domain dia itu saja sebenarnya, tak ada susah pun. Okay, last. Okay, so again it is square root, so it must be 9 minus y squared greater than or equals to 0. Okay, but then this is y squared kan, kita punya ni kita mesti letak dalam y, variable y. So kalau saya tukar balik ni, saya dapat 9 greater than or equals to y squared. Okay, atau y squared less than or equals to 9. So bila less than, inequalities less than, you nak buka the square, dia mestilah jadi negatif punca kuasa 9 lebih kecil y lebih kecil punca kuasa 9. Okay, which is negative 3 less than equals to y less than equals to 3. So this is your answer. Okay, from here, you jangan buat macam ni. Saya merahkan You know it's y squared less than equals to 9. Then you buat y less than equals to tambah tolak square root 9. So y tambah tolak 3. Okay, if it's like this, then the first one is y less than equals to 3. The other one is y less than equals to negative 3. Okay, the problematic is here. Okay, y, let's say y less than equals to negative 3. Let's say I choose y equals to negative 4. Sebab negative 4 tu lebih kecil daripada negative 3 kan? Okay. Now my fxy will be 9 minus negative 4 square root, which is 9 minus 16, which is negative. So negative become undefined. So actually when you want to open the inequalities, you cannot do like this. Okay, you have to do this way. Faham Okay, sketching the graph, number 3. Actually, this number 3, we have already looked into this question in chapter 1, which is the quadric surface kan. So basically, it is more or less the same lah. For example, fxy a equals to negative 2. So what is your fxy? Fxy is z. Z equals to negative 2. Okay, negative 2 is down here, right? Negative 2. Okay, so x tak ada, y tak ada, means both will be arbitraries. So if you still remember, so you bawa satu garis selari dengan x, and then another line parallel to y, and then you just connect all this line together, then you have a plane on z equals to negative 2. Okay, the same for B, C, D, and E. So B also will be a plane because the y is to the power of 1. The plane will be along x-axis. Ini you buat sendiri, nanti tunjuk kat saya. You buat betul ke tak? And then the C, they are not a plane also because x to the power of 1, y to the power of 1. But then it does not become along any axis. Okay. But then it cut through the axis, all axis. X ada, y ada, z pun ada. Okay, D. D is actually half of sphere, which is, we call hemisphere. Okay, which half? Now you have z equals to 9 minus x squared minus y squared. So z positive. The half of z positive means up here lah, which is the radius is equals to 3. Kenapa 3? Because it has a square root 9 here. Okay. And then the E. Okay, E sekarang dua-dua ada kuasa 2 kan. Z equals to x squared plus 2y squared. Okay, so dia akan jadi paraboloid. Paraboloid pada paksi Z. Okay, sebab Z equals to x kuasa 2, senyum. Z equals to 2y kuasa 2 pun senyum juga. So dia akan jadi macam ni. Okay, beza dia pada bukaan saja tapi kita tak tunjuk dalam ni Okay. So that's it for 3.1. 3.1 is a function of 2 or more variables. Okay, so actually in this 3.1, you have to know how to evaluate multivariable function. Evaluate multivariable function means as the question number 1, masukkan nilai saja. Okay. Second, you have to know how to identify the domain. Identify the domain as if question number 2. Yeah? You dah tahulah domain actually from chapter 2 lagi kita dah belajar pasal domain. And then lastly, sketch the graph of two variable function. So sketching also we have looked into the sketching in chapter 1 kan. So dia ulangan saja. Okay, so the main topic in this chapter 3 is 3.2, the partial derivative, because the topic itself named partial derivative kan. Okay, so let's look into exercises 3.2. So the question number 1 asks, what is partial derivative? So partial derivative differentiation actually it is quite similar. However, the difference is in partial derivative you have other variables that you treat as constant. Kalau derivative biasa, full derivative differentiation y equals to fx, contoh macam tadi saya kata, bila you bezakan dy terhadap x, you full differentiate the function because the function only have one variable. Okay. However, in partial derivative, there are several variables. Okay. So the differentiation of several variables with respect to other variables in partial derivatives means you keep the other variable as constant. Okay, that's it. Question number 1. Let's see question number 2. Find all first partial derivative of each function. X minus 4y to the power of 6. Now, the question asks you to find partial derivative of for each function. So, the other two variables means the first partial derivative will be fx and fy lah for each variables. Maksudnya, so sekarang bezakan terhadap x. So, again, if we want to differentiate respect to x, then our y is constant. Okay, so how you differentiate constant, macam tu lah you akan differentiate y. Okay, so sekarang ni you ada kuasa 6 kan. So differentiate the polynomial first. Dia akan jadi 6 x to the 4y, 6 tolak 1 which is kuasa 5. And then you darab, you differentiate kat dalam ni terhadap x. Okay, so bezakan x dapat 1. Bezakan 4y, since now the 4y is constant, beza constant dapatlah kosong. Okay, so your answer will be 6x minus 4y to the power of 5. Okay, itu saja. Now let's look into fy. If I want to differentiate fy now, the constant will be x. Okay, first of all, differentiate the power, the polynomial power. I will have 6x minus 4y to the power of 5. Kenapa jadi 5? Sebab 6 tolak 1 sama dengan 5 kan. And then you darab, you bezakan dalam ni pula with respect to y now. So x will become 0. The negative 4y will become negative 4. So yang ini boleh darab dengan 6 ni, which is negative 24 x minus 4y to the power of 5. Okay, so that's it. That's your answer. Let's continue, look into B. Now it has to the power of 1 over 2. Means the square root lah. Okay, remember you have to differentiate the power first. Sebab power ni paling kat luar kan. And then you, macam mana nak differentiate power tu kan, kalau you ada d over dy y to the power of n, dia akan jadi n y n minus 1 kan. So yang ini kita akan buat. Okay, polynomial power dahulu. So fx will be 1 over 2, 2x plus 3y to the power of 3. 1 over 2 minus 1 will be negative 1 over 2. Okay, and then multiply, kita bezakan kat dalam ni terhadap x kan sekarang, x. Okay, so beza terhadap x, 2x dapat 2, 3y kuasa 3 dapat kosong. Okay, 0. Why 0? Because the 3y to the power of 3 is constant. So when you want to differentiate constant, you will get 0. Contoh macam ni, when you want to differentiate d over dx, katalah 5. Okay, differentiate 5 terhadap x dapatlah kosong kan. So this is how you treat your y because it's constant. Ada lagi boleh nanti? Tak ada. Okay, so kita boleh potong yang ni 2. This one actually can be multiplied with this one, so boleh potong. Yang tinggal adalah 2x tambah 3y kuasa 3 kuasa negatif 1/2. For fy pun sama. Okay, first of all, let's bring the power to the front. Then it will become negative 1 over 2. Then multiply, differentiate 2x plus 3y to the power of 3 with respect to y now. So the 2x will become 0. The 3y to the power of 3 will become 9y to the power of 2. Okay, so it will become 9 over 2 y to the power of 2, 2x plus 3y to the power of 3, negative 1 over 2. Okay, C, fxy equals to 2x minus y over x plus y. Okay, so if you want to differentiate with respect to x, again, y is constant. Okay, so you have to look where your variable x is. Now you have variable x in the numerator as well as denominator. So you have to use quotient rule here. Okay, so quotient rule, kalau you ada u over v, okay, you want to differentiate d over dx, let's say. So it will be v prime u minus, sorry. So it will be v u prime minus u v prime over v squared. Okay, so kalau nak differentiate with respect to x, x lah. Kalau differentiate with respect to y, then you have to look into y. So let's say I bring outside the u and v first. 2x minus y, v is x plus 3y. Okay, then since I want to differentiate with respect to x, my ux is 2, the y will be 0, my vx will be 1, the 3y will be 0 as well. So fx is vu prime, which is x plus 3y, 2 minus uv prime, 2x minus y, 1, over v squared, x plus 3y to the power of 2. So 2x plus 6y minus 2x plus y. So these 2x can be cut out. So what's left is 7y over x plus 3y squared. So this is your answer. Okay, the same for fy. However, now you have to find the uy and vy. Okay. So 2x will be 0, uy is negative 1, vy is 3. Vu prime, x plus 3y times negative 1 minus uv prime over v squared. negative 7x over x plus 3y squared. Okay. So in partial derivative, okay, there are also quotient rule, product rule, and we will look into chain rule after this. Okay, so all these rules you have to master. It applies the same actually. Okay, however, when you want to differentiate x, y is constant. When you want to differentiate y, x is constant. Okay, so as long as you know the constant part, there will be no problem for you. Okay, question number D. Question D is a multiplication of exponent and trigo. However, the exponent has only y variable and the trigo has only x variable. Okay, so you don't have to use product rule because the other one will be constant when you want to differentiate the other variables. Let's say I want to differentiate with respect to x now. So y is constant. So saya tulis siap-siap 3 eksponen y kuasa 2. Saya tulis siap-siap sebab dia adalah constant. So I want to differentiate x means I want to differentiate sine 2x. So differentiate sine will be cos 2x juga. And then you multiply, differentiate the 2x will be 2. Okay. So these two actually can be multiplied to the 3 exponent y to the power of 2. So 3 darab 2 dapatlah 6 exponent y to the power of 2 cos 2x. Okay. Okay. The one that students biasa buat silap is it differentiate, it's multiply here to here. So tak boleh lah, dia takkan jadi cos 4x. No. Okay, because the 2 is to be multiplied together to the front, not to the argument of trigo. This argument of trigo, kalau 2x sampai habis pun dia akan jadi 2x saja, dia takkan berubah. Okay, it will not change unless you do the identity operation to it. Okay, if only multiplication, division, addition and subtraction, okay, the 2x will not be changed. Okay, the value of 2x will still be 2x. Okay, one more thing. Why is it the exponent y to the power of 2 here still there? It's not become 0 because it's constant, right? It's not become 0. Okay, so you see the difference when you have 5 and d over dx when you have 5x. The first differentiation will be 0. However, the second differentiation will be 5. Why? Because the 5 attached to the variable x that you want to differentiate. Now, this whole thing is constant attached to the variable x that you want to differentiate. So it will still be there. Dia macam 5 tu. Katalah ini saya tukar jadi y, yang ini saya tukar jadi y, so the answer will be y. Okay, so all this while yang kita tengok ni, okay, dia berdiri sendiri. Okay, it only have 4y attached, not attached with variable x. If it's x, x. If it's y, y only. So the x will be 0. Okay, if y, then the y will be 0. Okay, contoh macam tu. Ini pun sama. X saja, y saja. Dia tak ada hasil darab. Ini pun sama. X, x. Y, y. Okay. However, for this question, it is a multiplication of exponent x and sine 2x. Okay. So when you want to differentiate, the other one will still be there. Okay, let's say we differentiate with respect to y. Okay, now we want to differentiate with respect to y. The whole things regarded with x will be constant. So kita tulis siap-siap sebab ni attached. So 3 sine 2x is constant, that will still be there. Okay, dia sama macam 5x tadi tu So yang kita nak bezakan, that we want to differentiate is only the exponent y to the power of 2. So differentiate exponent will be exponent also. Exponent y to the power of 2, exponent y to the power of 2 lah. And then darab, you bezakan y to the power of 2 pula with respect to y. So y kuasa 2 beza dapatlah 2y. So this is your answer. Again, this one you boleh darabkan ke depan. 2 darab 3 dapatlah 6. Okay. So to differentiate exponent, it is the easiest exponent ni. Sebab dia akan dapat dia juga. When you differentiate exponent, you will get exponent back. Okay, tak berubah. Sama juga when you differentiate exponent AX, dia akan dapat A exponent AX kan. Exponent AX tu still sama. A ni kenapa ada kat depan? A ni actually bila you bezakan yang ni. You beza this one, you will get A. So you darabkan semua. Okay. So when you have d over dx exponent x plus x to the power of 2 pun sama. Okay, the first one they akan still dapat x to the power of 2, and then when you want to differentiate the x plus x to the power of 2, you multiply. You akan dapat 1 tambah 2x. Okay, so the whole answer will be 1 plus 2x exponent x plus x to the power of 2. Contoh macam tu Okay, lastly, E. Okay, so the square root is actually 3x to the power of 3 plus 2y to the power of 2 is to the power of 1 over 2. Power of half kan. So dia sama macam B tu tadi So you may try for this one to get the answer. Just look into example B yang saya dah tunjuk ni tadi. This one. Okay, let's see question number 3. Let fxy equals to 2x squared plus 8y square root of 2x squared plus 8y. Find the slope of the surface z equals to fxy in the x direction and y direction at the point 2, 1. Okay, so number 3, it is actually one of the application of the partial derivative. Okay, slope. Kan kalau dy dx can be denoted as slope. However, if you have two variables, if you have two variables, then del z, what is your z? Z is here lah, z equals to fxy. Del z del x, or you can write in terms of del f del x, or you can write in terms of zx, or you can write in terms of fx, mana-mana saja. Okay. It is actually what we call slope in the x direction. Okay, so on the other hand, if del z del y, or del f del y, or zy or fy, okay, it is all the same things, just different notation. So slope in the y direction. So let's see zx. So since it is square root, we differentiate the power of the square root, which is 1 over 2. It will become negative half the power. Then differentiate the inside argument, which is the 2x squared plus 8y with respect to x only. So you will have 4x. The 8y will be 0. Again, why it's 0? Because it's a standalone variable. It does not attach with x. Okay. So this 4 and 2 can be cut out. So what's left is 2x over 2x squared plus 8y square root. Okay, the negative means 1 over. So the question asks you to find at the point 2, 1. Okay, which is the x is 2, the y is 1. Okay, so you have your answer as 1. So you might try for ZY. So ZY means slope in the Y direction. Question number 4. Okay, now we are going into higher order. Okay, so higher, tadi tu cuma the first order. First order mean fx or fy. Higher order if fxx, fyy, fxy or fyx. Okay. So the question asks you to find fxx and fxy. So in this notation, you have to find the front first, which is fx. Then you have to find the letter. This is the first, find fx first, then differentiate the fx with respect to y. Okay, let's say we try for this one. So I have to find fx first. So again, if you want to find fx, y is constant. So the 4xy to the power of 2, the 4y to the power of 2 will be a constant. Since this constant is attached to your variable x, so it will still be there. Okay, we differentiate x, we'll get 1 plus the 3y is constant, no x, so everything will be 0. The 2x squared, okay, is the variable that you want to differentiate, so it will be 4x. Okay, now we proceed with fx, differentiate the fx with respect to y. So this is what we call fxy. Okay, do not take the original question. Okay, you take the one that you have differentiate with respect to x just now. Okay, differentiate fx with respect to y. Now x is constant. Okay, so 4y to the power of 2 will be 8y. However, the negative for x, since x is constant, so it will be 0. So this is your answer. Okay, so you work towards the order, okay, one by one. If the question wants fx, then fx again. So let's say fx here and x again. Okay, so the y is constant now. Okay, you take your equation from here. Do not take from the original equation. So the y is constant, so the 4y squared is 0. The negative 4x will be negative 4. So this is your answer. Okay, I think it's the same for question 5. Okay, since it is product rule, so let me show you. So find fyx and fxy. Okay, let's say we try for fyx first. Okay, so before we find fyx, we have to find the fy, right? Fyx means this is the first, this will be our second. Okay, so the 5x squared is constant, attached to y, still be there. We only differentiate y to the power 5, it will be 5y to the power of 4, plus, okay, x is also a constant, still be there. So we only differentiate the exponent. Differentiate exponent will be exponent as well, okay, as I told you before. And then multiply, differentiate the xy, the power of the exponent, xy with respect to y now. Okay, so the x is constant still. And then differentiate y will be 1. So this one can be multiplied together. This one as well can be multiplied together. Okay, now fy differentiate respect to x. Okay, so the 25y to the power of 4 is constant. Differentiate x to the power of 2 will be 2x plus, okay, this is where you have to use product rule when you want to differentiate with respect to x. Why? Because there are x to the power of 2 there, which is the polynomial, and exponent x, y, okay, which is the exponent, okay? So product rule is u v prime plus v u prime when you want to differentiate the u v. Okay, let's say x squared exponent xy, and then differentiate the xy with respect to x, we'll get y plus exponent xy, differentiate x will be 2x. Okay. So this is your answer. Okay, you may try for fxy, and basically we'll get the same answer. Okay, if the function is a continuous function, then your fxy will be equals to your fyx. This is a theorem. Okay, question number 6. Del squared w equal over del x del y. Okay, del squared w over del x del y. So actually, you have to find what? You have to find the del w del y first. Okay, this one first. So this vice versa from the above notation. Above notation, kalau above notation dia akan jadi fyx lah ni. Sorry, bukan f, w. Sebab you guna w it will be wyx. So y first and then x second. Itu dia punya penulisan tu you kena tahu. The first one is y first and then x, but then it written in terms of dx dy. The second one is also yx, y first and then x second, but it returns in term of wyx. Okay. So we have to find wy first. Means now we have two constants. The x and z are constants. Only y is what we want to differentiate. Okay, the first one, we have cos xyz. Before we want to differentiate the y, we have to differentiate the cos. Okay, so beza cos apa? Negative sign. Okay, argument dia masih juga sama, and then you multiply, differentiate the xyz with respect to y. So xz dia adalah constant. So xz lah yang tinggal. Okay, so differentiate y will be 1. Okay, belakang pun sama, y to the power of 3, z to the power of 4. So the z is constant, so z4 masih juga ada. Then we differentiate the y to the power of 3 is 3y to the power of 2. And then the exponent yz, okay. So there are y there, so the exponent is not a constant, so it will be differentiate with respect to y. So still exponent yz, and then multiply with z only. Okay, why? Because yz, you want to differentiate yz with respect to y, the z is constant. So bezakan y tu dapat 1. Okay, so you have all this. And then this one, you darab ke depan. Jangan darab kat sini. Okay, again, this one, salah Okay, belum habis lagi because the question asks you to find the second derivative which is differential with respect to x now. Okay, when you want to differentiate with respect to x, now our y is constant, our z is constant. Okay, so for the first one here, you kena guna product rule. Kenapa kena guna product rule? Sebab dekat sini you ada x, dalam sini pun you ada x, okay? Tapi x yang kat sini is for the sign, which is the trigonometric function. X yang kat luar ni adalah polynomial function. So you have to differentiate lah, both. Respect to x, so yz. So this is the product rule. First, differential respect to x, so z masih ada sini, negative z. Negative z sin xyz plus negative xz, beza sin dapat cos xyz, yz, okay. And then plus, this both is constant now, 0. And then plus, this is also constant, no x, right? So sebab ni ada z, ada y, ada z saja, tak ada x. So semua constant, kosong. So yang ni boleh darab ke depan ni. So basically this is your answer. So boleh you buat saja satu-satu. You buat step by step. Okay. And then you have to know lah which one has to use product rule, which one has to use quotient rule. Contoh macam 3y kuasa 2z kuasa 4 nampak macam panjang, but then all is constant. No x. So strictly becomes 0. Okay, sama juga macam z exponent yz. Okay, now we want to differentiate with respect to x. There are no x there. There are only y and z. So it becomes constant. So constant strictly becomes 0. You tak payah nak bezakan dia. Because when you differentiate, actually it becomes 0. Tak perlu nak buat product rule ke apa kat situ. Sebab product rule only when you have x. When you want to differentiate with respect to x, you look into where your variable x is. Okay, the other you treat as constant. So you may try for the wxx. Okay, another application is the rate of change. Question number 7 and question number 8. Okay, you may try for question number 7. So question number 7 tu lebih banyak soalan kan, dia ada A, B, C, D. I will show you how to do 8. So actually it is more or less the same lah. The volume V of a certain gas is related to its temperature T and its pressure P by the gas law PV equals to KT. K is constant of proportionality. Suppose that V is measured in cubic inches, P in pounds per square inch and T in degrees Kelvin, and that for certain gas the constant of proportionality is K equals to 2. Dia dah bagi dah. So kita masukkan terus K equals to 2, so 2T. Find the instantaneous rate of change of pressure. So the question A asks us to find pressure tadi apa? P kan? Del P, del T. With respect to temperature. Temperature sekarang T besar. Okay. If the temperature is 80 Kelvin and volume remains 40 inch cubic. Okay, so you bawa keluar dulu all the information needed Okay, now you want to find del P del T. So you guna formula yang ini saja. Function awak bila nak jadikan P, so you have 2T over V. Okay, now you want to differentiate respect to T, right? So V is constant. So bila V constant, 2 over V tu masih juga adalah 2 over V still there. You want to differentiate T, you will get 1. So you have 2 over V. Now when you're given T equals to XT, V equals to 40, we'll have 2 over 40, which is 1 over 20. No T, no function, sorry, no variable T, so tak perlulah guna yang ni. Tidak semestinya perlu digunakan. Jangan tiba-tiba nak masuk juga. Okay, when you don't have the variables, then you don't need to use the value. So 1 over 20. It's pressure by the gas law. Pressure tadi apa? Pound per square inch. Okay, so pound per inch square. And T in degrees Kelvin. Per Kelvin lagi. Okay. Okay, B. Find the rate of change of volume pula sekarang. Del V with respect to pressure. Del P. If volume is 40 cubic inch and temperature remain fixed at K now. Okay, sekali lagi kita ada PV equals to 2T. Untuk senang, kita jadikan V sebagai subjek kita sekarang. So, kita nak bezakan V. So, it will be 2T over P. So, when I want to differentiate V respect to P, again, my T is constant. The temperature will become constant. So, temperature constant 2T lah. So, kita bezakan P saja. P sekarang ni, dia ada P to the power of negative 1 kan? Sebab kat bawah, so negative 1 P negative 2. Or the 2T negative 2T over P squared. Dia jadi macam ni lah. Okay, when the del V, del P, V equals to 40, T equals to 80. So I'll have negative 2 80 over P squared. Dia tak ada bagi value untuk P kat sini. Tapi kita akan cari menggunakan this one. Okay. So negative 160 over P squared. How to find P squared? Tadi kita ada PV equals to 2T. So if my V equals to 40, P40 equals to NT is equals to XT. So P equals to 160 over 40, which is 4. Okay. So 100 negative 4 to the power of 2 will be 16. So negative 10. That's it for 3.2. 3.2 is partial derivative. Okay. The main thing is you have to remember when you differentiate one variable, the other variables will be treated as constant. And how you treat constant, that is how you treat your the other variables. Okay. So if the variables stand alone, it will be the differentiation will become 0. However, if it's attached to the variable that you want to differentiate, then the constant will still be there. Okay. Okay, so let's continue with 3.3, which is the chain rule. So exercise 3.3, 1A, so you have these functions. Okay, and the question asks you to find dz dt. So for chain rule, if you can understand or master the tree diagram, so There will be no problem for you to solve any chain rule problems. Okay. So first of all, you have Z. Atas sekali you ada Z. Bawah Z tu, dalam Z ni you ada function X and Y. Sorry, you ada variable, not functions. You ada variable X and Y. Okay. And then bawah X you ada T. And then bawah Y you ada T. So you just look into this equation. Okay. For Z you have X and Y. For X you have T. For Y you have T. You only write the variables, not the functions. Jangan tulis negatif T kuasa 2 pada X ni. Atau Y ni you tulis 2T kuasa 3. No, we only want to determine the variables. Okay. Now when the question asks you to find dz dt, so you ambil daripada Z hingga T. The tree diagram you daripada Z hingga T. And then ni pun ada kan. Okay, ambil. Kalau ada lagi branch yang lain, you ambil saja. Okay, you connect all the Z to T. Okay, so the connection dah ada. Now the differentiation is differentiate variable atas terhadap variable bawah. Maksudnya sekarang kalau ada Z, del Z, del Y. Ni del del. Okay, this one also del Z, del X. Variable atas ada variable bawah. This one ada atas tu ada X, bawah tu ada T. So dx, dt. This one dy, dt. Okay, so branch yang sama awak darab. Okay, branch yang berbeza ni dua ni awak tambah. Okay, so as long as you can do like this, you can get the answer lah. So means to find dz dt, you have to find del z del x, darabkan tadi, times with dx dt plus, okay, another branch is del z del y times with dy dt. Okay, so now you may ask what's the difference between d and del. D is when you have full derivative, means only one variable. Full derivative. Okay, one variable. Okay, for del, however, it's only partial. Ni yang kita guna partial ni. Partial derivative, because you have two or more variables. Okay, tu beza dia. So sekarang untuk Z ni, dia ada dua variable kan? Ada X, ada Y. Tapi untuk X, dia ada T saja. Sebab tu tadi X tu saya guna dx dt, bukan del. Tapi untuk Z, saya guna del Z, del X, del Z, del Y. Okay? Okay, so kita ambil lah pembezaan Z terhadap X. When you want to differentiate Z with respect to X, then your Y is constant. However, this Y is attached to the X, so it still be there. So differentiate X squared will be 2X. Okay, times differentiate X with respect to T. So akan dapat negative 2T. Plus, okay, differentiate Z with respect to Y. So the X squared is a constant, will still be there. Differentiate Y, get 1. And then differentiate Y with respect to T. Dia akan dapat 6T kuasa 2. So inilah dia. Negatif 2 dengan 2 ni boleh darab. So 4XYT plus 6X squared T squared. Okay. Now, you boleh tinggal sampai sini actually. Okay. Or, if the question asks you to give only T variables, maksudnya T variable sebab kat sini kan kat bawah sekali adalah T. So mestilah in terms of the last variable. The last parameter. Now parameter is in terms of T. So you masukkan balik X awak tadi negatif T kuasa 2. Y awak tadi 2T kuasa 3. T. So yang X ni masuk. Yang ni pun substitute je. Okay. Tambah 6. Negatif T kuasa 2 kuasa 2. T kuasa 2. Okay. So you may try lah. Dapat tak jawapan dia 14T kuasa 6 tu, as in the answer sheet 2 tambah 3, 5, 5 tambah 1, 6, 4 tambah 2, 6. Okay, T kuasa 6 tu dah betul dah. 8 tambah 6, 14. Okay, betul Okay, now 1B. So again, the tree diagram. Dia sama macam atas tu. Sebab in Z you have X, Y. Okay, in X you only have T, in Y you only have T. Okay, so sama macam atas tu. So dz dt pun formula dia mesti sama macam atas. So actually if you can write down this formula, you already get 1 marks for you. Okay, this chain rule formula, because the formula will be different regards to the variable. Okay, del z del x, dia lon kan, dia ada lon kat situ. Sebelum you bezakan x kat dalam tu, you kena bezakan lon. Beza lon apa-apa. Whenever you differentiate ln, you will have 1 over. Okay, so the 1 over x plus 3y squared. Okay, multiply. Now we differentiate the square. Okay, sebelum differentiate dalam tu, differentiate square pula. Sebab sekarang kat luar dia ada kuasa 2 tu kan. Okay, so 2x plus 3y squared. 2 minus 1 will be 1. Now multiply, differentiate the x plus 3y squared with respect to x now. Okay, so differentiate with respect to x dapatlah 1, 3y kuasa 2 tu jadi kosong. Okay, yang ini cuma dz dx saja, kita belum buat yang belakang lagi. Okay, darabkan beza dx dt pula. Now your x is square root t, so 1 over 2 lah tu. T negative 1 over 2. Okay, you dapat macam tu saja. Plus, again, differentiate z, but now with respect to y. Okay, however, they are still, first of all, the ln. Okay, multiply with the power. Okay, and then multiply, differentiate the x plus 3y to the power of 2 with respect to y only. So the x will be 0. The 3y to the power of 2 will be 6y. Okay, again, multiply with respect to dy dt. dy dt means 1 over 4 t, 1 over 4 minus 1, which is negative 3 over 4. Okay, so this one with this one you can cut out. This one also with this one, because benda sama tapi kuasa berbeza. This 1 over 2, 1 over 2 pun boleh cut out. Okay, this one, this ada 12, so akan tinggal 3, dah cut out. So ditulislah cantik sikit, you akan dapat 1 over square root t kan, x plus 3y squared plus 3y over t 3 over 4 x plus 3y squared. Okay, so you may leave your answer here, or you may try to find the answer to be 1 over t only, as in the answer sheet. Okay, so now we are going to chain rule in application problem. Question number 3 until 6 is application problem. So at what rate is the volume of a box changing if its length is 5 feet and decreasing at 4 feet per second? So first of all, we have a box. Okay, box like this. So ni tinggi dia, lebar darab the length and the width. Okay. Okay, so the volume of a box is the length times the width times the height. Okay, tinggi dia. So it says that the length is 5 feet, L is equals to 5 feet, and decreasing dl dt, sorry, d equals to -4 sebab decreasing kan. Okay, w is equals to 3 feet and increasing, so dw dt is equals to 3, and then the hash is 2 feet and d hash dt increasing again, so equals to 1. So the question asks you to find dv dt. Okay, so chain rule. Atas ada V, dalam V ada L, ada W, ada H. Bawah L ada T, bawah W ada T, bawah H also ada T. Now if you want to find dv dt, you have to connect all the V to T. Okay, again, the same branches you multiply together. Okay, the different branches you addition. So dv dt is del V del L times with dl dt plus, so this is what I'm talking about. The formula is different according to your variable lah. Okay, sometimes it is 2, sometimes it is 3. Okay, it depends on how many variables associate with your function. Okay, so dvdl, dvw, and dvdh is the one that you have to differentiate from the function, this function. Okay, while the dl dt, dw dt, and dh dt is already given. This one lah, yang ini dah diberi. Okay. Okay, differentiate V with respect to L, then your W and H is constant. The dl dt is -4 just now, plus differentiate V with respect to W, so your L and H is constant. Your W dt is 3. Differentiate V now with respect to H, you will have L and W is constant. dH dt is 1. Okay, so this WH everything, just substitute this value. The L is, the W is 3, the H is 2, the L is 5, the H is 2 again. Okay, so you should get the answer. This is number 2. Oh, I didn't do number 2, question number 2. I skipped question number 2. Well, actually, question number 2 is the same as question number 1. You may try, Q2, try. So, Q2 pun try juga, So, you will have 21. So up until here, you just use your calculator to calculate. Okay, question number 4. Suppose that the portion of a tree is a right circular cylinder. Right circular cylinder, maksudnya cylinder lah ni. If the height of the portion is increasing, so hash dia kat sini. So hash katanya increasing, so dH dt equals to 3 inches per year, and the diameter increasing 2 inches per year. So d dt, d is diameter, equals to 2 inches per year. How fast is the volume? So this we cari dv dt of the portion of the tree increasing when the height of the portion is, so find dv dt when hash equals to 40 and d equals to 10. Okay, so this is basically the question. Okay, you bring out all the information. Okay, so what is the volume of a cylinder? So kena tengoklah formula dia. Volume of a cylinder is equals to pi r squared hash. Okay, now it's given in terms of diameter kan, and we know that diameter is actually the 2 times radius. Okay, so either way you can dia salah satu cara boleh bahagikan dua yang ini. So if dd dt is equals to 2 means dr dt will be equals to 1. If d equals to 10 then your r will be equals to 5 lah, kedua. Ataupun awak boleh tukar kat sini. Okay, means the pi now, so r is what? R is d over 2 right? So d over 2 squared hash means pi over 4 d squared hash. This is your volume now. Okay. So the chain rule, dalam V tu ada d dan hash, dalam d ada t, dalam hash ada t. So when the question asks you to find dv dt, actually you want to find del v del d times with dd dt plus del v del hash times with d hash dt. Okay, so this one and this one, okay, you can get from the function, and this one and this one is given. So when you want to differentiate with respect to d, your hash is constant, so you akan dapat pi over 4 hash 2d. dd is 2. When you want to differentiate with respect to hash, your d is now constant, so pi over 4 d squared. d hash dt is 3. Okay, so you'll have, ini boleh potong, d hash pi plus 3 over 4 by d squared. Okay, so your hash is equals to 40, your d equals to 10. Masukkan nilai itu. So you get 475 pi as your answer. Okay, you may try the other way around. The other way around means instead of d dt, you bagi siap-siap dr dt is equals to 1. Okay, so your dv dt now will be dv dr dr dt. Okay, so yang ini akan jadi r lah. So you tak perlu nak ganti, you akan ambil equation asal saja. Okay, so the answer will be the same. The pressure P, okay, PV equals to XD. The use chain rule to find the rate at which the pressure. So the soalan suruh cari dP dt changing when the temperature 120 and increasing. So 0.2 and V is equals to 40. And dv dt equals to 0.15. Okay, so again, dalam P, so dia kena cari dalam bentuk P lah. So P equals to AT over V. So dalam P ada T, ada V. Dalam T ada T, dalam V ada T. So dp dt is actually del P. So del P del T besar ni darab dt dt kecil plus del P del V times dV dt. So again, this one and this one, okay, you boleh ambil daripada function. Yang ini dan yang ini diberi. Given. Okay, the rest you might try. Two straight rods intersect at the right angles, lorry A. Two straight rods intersect at the right angles. Maksudnya dia ada dua jalan intersect pada right angle kat sini. Lorry A moving on one of the roads approaches the intersection. Okay, so katalah ini X, ini Y. Kita ikut apa? XY plan. Okay, satu lori tu datang daripada sini. Lori tu datang daripada sini. So maksudnya DXDT lah. DXDT 50 miles per hour. And lorry B on the other road. So lorry B tu dia datang daripada sini pula. Okay, datang daripada sini maksudnya DYDT. So DYDT is, this is lorry B, this is lorry A. So lorry B moving on the other road approaches at the intersection of 20 miles per hour. At what rate is the distance between the lorries changing? So distance, katalah distance to D. So find DD dt when A tadi adalah X equals to 3, B tadi adalah Y equals to 4 from the intersection. Okay, so how you determine the distance? Distance dia kira macam ni lah kan? Distance between these two. Okay, so semakin dia menghampiri, so distance dia akan semakin berkurangan. Okay, so actually you akan ada this one. This is Y, this is X. So this is actually, the distance is X squared plus Y squared square root. Okay. So when you want to find d dt, dalam D tu ada X, ada Y. Dalam X tu ada T, dalam Y tu ada T. So when you want to find the d dt, you have to find del D over del X times dx dt plus del D over del Y times dy dt. So again, this one and this one from this function. And then this one and this one is given here. Okay, so try. Okay, now 7 and 8. 7 and 8 is chain rule with two parameters. Tadi tu kita tengok satu parameter saja, which is T. Yang kat bawah tu dia ada satu saja, which is T. Now, the last parameter has two parameters. For example, question number 7. Okay. So in Z you have X and Y kan? Ada lagi tak variable lain? Tak ada. You ada X dan Y saja. Dalam X pula you ada U dan V. Dalam Y pun you ada U dan V. Okay. So when the question asks you to find del Z del U, okay, you tengok sekarang dia jadi del. Kenapa? Sebab last kali pun dia ada dua variable. It has two variables. So it will not be fully differentiate. Okay. Okay, so now when you want to differentiate Z with U, you ambil Z sampai U saja. Z sampai U saja, V you abaikan. Okay. Sebab kita nak tengok Z until U saja. So del Z del X times del X del U plus del Z del Y times del Y del U. Okay, so bila beza X, Y tu constant. So untuk yang pertama ni, Y constant, so Y kuasa 2. Y constant, so tolak kosong. Y constant tambah 7. X terhadap U, so when you want to differentiate with respect to U, your V now is constant. So 2. Negative V tu jadi kosong. Differentiate Z with respect to Y, so X constant. So 2XY minus 2. 7X is constant, 0. Y with respect to U, so V is constant. So U dapatlah 2V. So, yang akan dapat 2Y kuasa 2 tambah 14. Tolak 4XYV. Tolak tambah. Sini tambah. Tolak 4V. Okay. So, dia ada minta substitute value, which is u equals to 1, v equals to -1. Right? U equals to 1, v equals to -1. Okay. Nanti saya tunjuk. V is -1, -4, -1. Okay, how about x and y? Don't leave your answer here. Sebab x dengan y tu pun kita kena substitute. Okay. If u equals to 1, v equals to -1, you use this function to find the y, to find the x and y. So your x will be 2 times 1 minus -1, which is 3. And then your y will be 2 times 1 times -1, which is -2. Okay, then substitute everything. The x equals to 3 and y equals to -2. So you'll have 50. Okay. So del z del v means del z del x times del x del v now. Okay. Look into v only. So you may try this one. Remember, when you substitute the value of u equals to 1, v equals to -1, actually you have to substitute the value of x equals to 3 and y equals to -2 as well from here. Okay, don't leave your x and y unsubstitute. Okay, last one is question number 8. Use chain rule to find the okay, so z equals to x squared exponent x plus y. The x is r cos theta. Now you have two variables, two parameters as well, r sin theta. So z ada x ada y, x ada r ada theta, y ada r ada theta. Theta tau bukan cos theta atau sin theta. The cos theta and sin theta is a function. The parameter is only the theta. Okay. So again, when you want to differentiate with respect to r, let's say, so you ambil yang r sahaja. Z connected until r. So you ada del z del x del r plus del z del y del r. So you may try this one for theta as well. Okay, so the question asks you to substitute r equals to 1, theta equals to pi over 3. Okay, don't forget to find x and y as well. So x is 1 cos pi over 3 and y is 1 sin pi over 3, which is 0.5 square root 3 over 2. Square root 3 over 2. So substitute this as well. So you may try. Okay, that's it for today. We have looked into 3.1 until 3.3. So I hope even though you keep yourself silence over there, you still understand whatever I teach you today in this chapter. So please bear in mind that this chapter will be in your final exam.